Greetings in this new year of yours. Greetings if you are tuning in to this channel of consciousness. We are delighted that you are here and delighted to remind you of the year that is planned for all that are dialed in to the consciousness of their own divine being and the demarcation of this space of time to reveal greater and greater expression of the divine being. We speak to you as one from the Elarion reign, a group, a council, if you will, who is part of the great play of incarnated divine beings in union with the mortal identities of all that you have been across the time and space. And now the divine embodiment in union, the mortal with the eternal begins. This is the year, and we are giddy, and we are delighted, and we are putting forth an invitation to you to let this year to be the year of your magical creative expression. We like the word magical. We like it very much, for it contains the energy and the essence of the mystery of life, of the unexplainable but delightful. If you think of being a kid in a magic show, watching the magician and being delighted by his magic or her magic, the giddiness, the sense of wonder, the delight, the awe, and the contemplation of the magic itself to understand the mystery. Well, this is what we are inviting you to focus on this year is your own magic. The magic that comes with creating when one is in surrender to their own divine beingness and the mystery it is entwined with, the mystery intelligence that it is entwined with. So let's celebrate this year at the beginning with the end in mind. Looking back now and having experienced this magical year in all aspects of your life and being and your body and all of everything that you experience, looking back upon this year with delight and awe, with excitement about the magic of life. We are cultivating that energy, just as you cultivate a fine wine. You are cultivating the wine of magic, of being magical. For those that are open to this energy, one's desires will be magically fulfilled, not through thinking, not through efforting, not through figuring out, not through manifestation, not through all the ways of the laws of attraction, but through the ways of magic, the law of magic, which always involves the mysterious, which is the greatest form of creating to bring your being delight, surprise, synchronicities, wonder. We love magic. We love the frequency of the magical. We invite you to remember, to recollect your identity as a divine being, to recollect your embodiment in the world of Elarion, the world of creator divine beings who are collaborating to embody this consciousness in a world of mortality, to come into union with your mortal I am, so that you can experience the ride up and the ride down simultaneously, having a divine perspective about your mortal experience and having, from the mortal advantage point, the experience of being a divine being, growing into that, transforming, transfiguring, magically, if you will. We are getting excited because the grid has been laid, the matrix has been built, this magical matrix of divine embodiment. All the builders have come together across the ages and implanted this matrix for those inclined to experience it, to plug into it. And this is why we are giddy, because we know the great delights that the magic will bring, and the awe and wonder and the seemingly impossible in this year, this new year, this year that you are tuning into this channel and receiving this remembrance transmitted into your being, your frequency, your living matrix. We know there will be many questions about how to live in the magical. So let us offer you something that your worldly mortal self can grab a hold of and chew. We invite you to each day clear from your mind your expectations that arise as you wake up in the morning, the things that you contemplate as your mortal self, and begin living your day from your divine being self. Just in wondering, what is my divine being thinking in this world a year from now that it has magically created? What to-do list are they making? How are they visualizing the day ahead? You are creating with the end in mind, following back your divine desires, plugging into the matrix of your divine being, and doing all the things you would as your mortal self, thinking about the day ahead. And you will see that there are very two different streams of thought. One from the mortal being in the now, in the beginning of the year, and one from the eternal being from the now at the end of the year. And the more that you can reside in the now of the eternal being from the end of the year, the more mystery and magic will unfold for you to bring you in that extraordinary life experience. We give you this and this alone, for it is a master key, and to not dilute it with jumping from this to that, to this to that as a practice. We will keep it to one recommendation for your year, your magical year. And so we invite your representative to ask any questions that may come to mind as they are listening in, for you to ask the questions that you may have, tuning into the consciousness of all that'll come to listen to this transmission, and asking a question for you. We are ready.
Thank you. My question was what you had said, how to chew on, how to accomplish this.
Oh, so we already answered your question?
That was my primary question. And other than clearing the mind, how do you stay in the thoughts of the divine self? Because it's very different. For me, I want to do the impossible things as opposed to the mortal thought stream. And how does one bridge the gap and stay in the divine thoughts throughout the day in that frequency?
It's reminding oneself to do so. If you can do it once, you can do it 1,000 times a day. It's building the habit of thinking from the divine mind, building the habit of putting on the divine mind. Just as you would build the habit, although you don't recall, of putting on the mind of the mortal self, now you must build a habit of putting on the mind of the divine, eternal self. We imagine many things that imply our mortality when we are in the mortal self. We imagine our limited self, often projecting it upon the world, between what's possible and not possible. We must get out of that habit and daydream, if you will, fantasize, if you will, not the fantasies of the mortal limited self, but the fantasies of the divine self, if that makes sense. So it's just a conscious choice, a habit, to dwell in that consciousness. We are running our imagination all the time. It's just, what is it directed upon? And there must be a choice made when you are building new habits. When you already are in habitual mode, which most mortal beings of this consciousness are, in order to break that habit, one must forcefully, even violently, if you will, meaning taking an active, willful direction to being in the consciousness, the daydreaming, the imagination of the divine being. To think with the supernatural mind, with the unlimited mind, with the mind of knowing that you are the creator, and that all that you see before you is you. It is you. You are the screen. You are the movie playing on the screen. You are the one experiencing the screen. This is the nature of the reality that you are in. Anything else?
Thank you. One more. The divine self, you're saying by the end of this year, 2027, that the divine being will be fully embodied, where the thoughts are in union?
It will be embodied to the extent that you can allow it. And it begins with you dwelling in the morning from the place of the divine being's year end. Your imagination will reveal that to you if you unchain it from what's possible and what's not possible. If you don't figure out the how, if you just begin with an empty screen, you color it in the way that you'd like to see it at the end of the year without any thought to how. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it depends on the imagination, your willingness to allow as much as you can allow divine beingness to form a movie from that state of consciousness. There are some big divine being dreams going on, some great imaginations right now in the minds of mortal men. And so they must give themselves permission to make it real in their mind, to make it possible, to understand that the great mysteries of life are capable of all things. Just as the Bible has told you, all things are possible with God. That is all things, all things. All means all. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Well, we thank you for these wonderful questions, and we thank you for the collaboration and the co-participation in a world where divine beings will fully incarnate, springing from the ashes of the mortal body, like a butterfly who arises out of the cocoon. Many of you have been cocooning, but the time is now, the year is now, and it has already begun. Blessings.